Hey friends, Rick from BCW Supplies back again with getting into Flesh and Blood. In this week's episode, I want to talk about the growing collection for Flesh and Blood. This past weekend was the release of Tales of Aria. I did manage to pick up one of each of the Blitz decks. We'll talk about that in a minute. And I hope that all of you out there had a wonderful time opening some Tales of Aria First Edition. I've done a couple of videos from some boxes that I opened, and I kind of want to go over where I was with storing my collection and how I'm storing my collection now. Hence, all of these boxes and folios. So first, let's talk about when Welcome to Rathe and Arcane Rising came out. You could really store most of your collection just in a simple folio or two. Have one for Arcane Rising and have one for Welcome to Rathe. But with each set that came out, that just kept adding to your number of folios that you were using. So a folio is a great way to store a collection, especially one that has a zipper on it. I just kind of make sure that all your cards stay in the folio. This is my collection of cracked baubles. I do love the card Cracked Bauble. I don't know why. I have about 95 of them from product that I've opened. So if you do the math, I've opened a lot. But what I really liked about folios was the ability to look at all of your cards, see what you had missing. It was a wonderful way to just look at complete play sets, things of that nature. But the issue that I ran into, especially with Crucible, was they were printing more cards for heroes that already existed. So once you filled out the pages in your folio, well, all of a sudden you had to take the cards out of other sets to make room for the new cards that came in, and you just kept having to do this folio page shuffle. And I found that to be a little time consuming and problematic. So I moved on, and I'll cover that with you here in just a moment. Now, I do think folios are absolutely perfect when it comes to having a little trade binder or having something with some extras in it that you're maybe looking to trade with other people. I prefer to use this little 4-pocket as it fits in any bag that I have, and I'm able to have my extra Majestics and Secret Rares and maybe some foil cards or promo cards in here that I'm looking to trade or I'm looking to get rid of. So that's pretty much all I use folios for now. In a previous video, I had spoke about, for the Blitz decks for Monarch, using the BCW PX4 as a way to store the decks. And once again, I have gone ahead and sleeved up all of my Blitz decks from the pre-constructed Tales of Aria. I have a cup of dice here and some extra sleeves. And I can use this just to teach people how to play the game or play a little fun, get to know the heroes kind of game, which is absolutely wonderful. These Blitz decks do play very well against each other. They're not too overpowered one way or the other. Not necessarily the way I would build any of the heroes, because it's got a little bit of everything. So for example, Lexi has both Frost and Lightning, where I think she really shines if you lean hard into one or the other. But still, we're in week 1 testing. Who knows what the right call is? Or at least I don't know what the right call is. So I still store my pre-constructed decks in a BCW PX4. I find that it just makes it super easy and effective. I can keep it together. I have my decks ready to go, and I can just play a nice, fun, casual game of a pre-constructed deck versus pre-constructed deck. Even if a friend of mine wants to learn the game or didn't bring a deck with them, we can still have a little bit of fun playing some Flesh and Blood. What I've moved my collection to are these. Now, this is the BCW 3200 count card bin. These are made from an acid-free plastic. They stack nicely and nest nicely on top of each other. They have a latching lid, and the lid will actually fold down underneath the box, so it doesn't take up any additional room. What I really like about this is the fact that I can organize my cards how I like. Right now, I've had to, with the launch of Tales of Aria, go from having 1 to having 2 of the 3200 count boxes, like so. And I have all of the class-specific cards in one, and I have the tokens and generic equipment in the back of this one. And in this one, I have all of the generic cards, or generic-ish cards. So I have the Shadow, I have the Light, I have Elemental, I have Earth, I have Ice, I have Lightning. I have the generic attack actions, I've got generic and just regular actions, defense reactions, so on and so forth. And it takes up roughly 6 rows to store everything. Now everything in here is sleeved. I do like to keep my play sets together, and I just keep all the cards together in their pitch count, and I sort by rarity. Even in here, I keep things set in such a way that I have all of my rare cards at the front, the Majestics even further in the front, and then all the commons after that. So deck building becomes really easy with everything already sleeved. If I'm looking to build something in a hurry, they're already in a sleeve just to protect the card edges. I've got room in here for top loaders, and I put my legendaries with the class specific legendaries here. When it comes to the generic equipment, obviously I have a skull cap over here. My tunic is currently in a deck, but it would be over here as well. And these locking partitions are great because I'm able to keep my cards vertical without having any damage. So for example, I don't have a lot of illusionist or light illusionist cards in here currently because I actually have Prism built. So I'm able to keep that space and then just move this partition once I deconstruct that deck and put it back into the box or into their spots where they go. Another nice thing is I can store some extra top loaders in here if you're fortunate to have some of those for legendaries that you pick up or some cold foils. I can keep plastic card deck boxes in here. Normally I use this to store some extra sleeves. And then I have little areas set up in the front where I have cards. For example, I have a character here that is just the merchant hero, the young merchant hero. There's not really a spot for him or card specific for him, so I've a little spot up here to keep some cards that don't really have a home in my organization system. Right here, these are actually just the tall trading card dividers by BCW, and I've taken a little label maker and made labels so I know what is in front of all of them. Again, I really love this storage solution. It's really helped me keep my collection organized. I have everything for Flesh and Blood currently minus 42 cards from the new set, and I believe about 35 cards from the other 4 sets before that I just haven't yet picked up. There are things where I may be missing 1 out of 3 for like Sonic Boom. That's one I was looking at earlier. I've only really built Kano for Blitz, and I never picked up the 3rd copy. So that'll be something I'll pick up here in the near future. Speaking of picking things up in the near future, I will be attending the Dallas Calling this coming October in a couple of weeks. I will be in the Dallas-Fort Worth area to play in the the Tales of Aria sealed 1st edition Calling. Super excited about that. I know that the ProQuest for that event will be classic constructed on Sunday, and it's going to be super interesting to see what decks emerge through that gauntlet of the ProQuest on Sunday. Kind of our first look at the competitive play side of things once Tales of Aria is actually legal in the format for Classic Constructed. So will Chain still have a presence? We'll find out. Will Prism be able to win another major event? We'll see. Which one of the new heroes is going to emerge victorious or at least have the best showing? You know what? Comment in this video down below which of the new heroes from Tales of Aria do you think is actually going to have the best showing at the ProQuest for Dallas Calling run by Channel Fireball. I'm excited to see what you guys think in this early week 1 adaptation. Speaking of week 1 and speaking of Tales of Aria and how to store your collection, I want to give back to you, the viewers. I'm going to be doing a giveaway on my Twitter account. It is at BCW_Rick on Twitter, and I'm going to be giving away this sealed box of Tales of Aria First Edition. This is a singleton box. This is not from the case that I opened. I did open those cases, or those 4 boxes, when I was in Madison. So if you've watched the previous box opening videos, you know what I'm talking about. So this is not from that. This is a single box that I did pick up from another local store here in Indianapolis. If you're curious what legendary I got out of my case, I got New Horizon for the Ranger. Really excited about that. I really like the look of Lexi right now. I've seen some people talking about Lexi. I've kind of been toying around with it. So we'll see what happens with Lexi and the calling in Dallas. The week after that is going to be Cincinnati. I will go ahead and let you guys know. I will also be at that calling as well in Cincinnati. And a special shout out to Star City Games. They're holding a convention called the SCG Con, typically a Magic event taking place in Roanoke, Virginia, the last weekend in October, so that Halloween weekend. And I will also be attending that. They're going to be running Flesh and Blood events, and they do have a ProQuest there. That ProQuest, from what they have posted online, will be Tales of Aria First Edition sealed. So right now we're in that sealed format, which is absolutely a blast. I've played in a couple sealed events. Most of you hopefully had a chance to play in a pre-release event or 2, and you have also experienced the sealed event format. Now, I do want to say I am planning on trying to get my hands on a couple more boxes of Tales of Aria First Edition, just because before the calling, I want to look at sealed pulls. And this is something that me and a few of my teammates do. We will get a sealed box, we'll open it up, and we'll make 4 sealed packs. So 4 sealed deck packs. So that's 6 booster packs. There's 24 packs in a box, breaks down to being perfect. So we get 4 looks at it. We'll open them up. We'll talk about the cards. We'll talk about the card pool, and we'll kind of try to evaluate what kind of hands or decks could we make, who's stronger. And we have a couple of different systems as how we look at it. Quickly, I'll just go over the fact that we typically want to look at the elements first to see what the cards are telling us our stronger elements are. And that's going to be between lightning, frost, and earth. Again, you also want to look at your hero cards. Every hero has a different way that they optimally like to be built. I did see somebody recently online on a YouTube video, shout out to the card guys down in Georgia. They did a wonderful kind of guide over how to play Lexi in limited sealed event, and the numbers they were giving out was roughly between 10 to 15 arrows is really the comfort range. When you're on that lower end of 10, you're really looking for some really strong arrows that are a red pitch arrow, higher damage. If you're around that 14 to 15, just look to try and fit as many in your deck as you can while still keeping a good balance of non-attack actions that are plussing the damage that you're doing. So again, you're going to be looking probably to do the dominate off of Shiver. So just some food for thought there when it comes to Lexi. When it comes to Briar, I think you really want a good 15-15 split on non-attack action versus attack action. And you're going to find a lot of those non-attack action cards in your elements. So you're going to be looking at your lightning and you're going to be looking at your earth. Being able to get go again, as well as being able to get a bonus to your non-attack action cards blocking is really a good place for Briar to be, as well as splitting the damage. Briar has the ability to split the damage between physical damage and arcane damage, and you really want to try and find that happy median in your card pool between the elemental Runeblade cards and your earth and your lightning. And finally, we come to Oldham. Oldham is going to be your frost earth. He's looking for a lot of blues. A lot of his cards have a high cost to it. He's also looking for a lot of things that plus damage on attacks. Thump is a phenomenal Guardian card that is in Tales of Aria that you really want to be playing into some sort of plus damage on the attack. It's well costed. I really think that there's a couple of different ways to build Oldham. You can try and go more for a frost control, or you can go for a big plus damage and just constantly swing 10 plus damage every turn. and put the pressure on your opponent to start blocking. And they're going to whittle cards out of their hand to block and try and block effectively. And that's really just going to kind of help give you the advantage if you're constantly able to keep up that pressure. So just a few ways to look at some of the sealed deck construction, some things to think about. Again, I sort mine out by the elements first, and then I look at the character cards, and then I go from there. So I'm gonna be doing a retweet to win contest, so follow me on Twitter and retweet the tweet where I'm giving this away along with some BCW goodies. And you know, maybe you can use this just to open up and get your hands on some Tales of Aria cards, or use it to practice for some sealed events if you're planning on attending a calling. Again, I wish everybody the best of luck. And until next time, remember, when it comes to protecting, storing, or displaying your hobbies or collectibles, BCW has you covered.